Air India just dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves through the entire aviation industry. They're ditching Boeing for a massive $14.3 billion deal with Airbus. After 6 decades of loyalty to the American giant, India's flag carrier has officially said goodbye to Boeing in what might be the most brutal corporate breakup of 2024. What you're about to discover will completely change how you see the aviation war between these two titans. December 2024 delivered the aviation equivalent of a nuclear bomb. Air India, Boeing's most loyal customer for over 60 years, announced they were purchasing 100 brand new Airbus aircraft worth $14.3 billion. This wasn't just any ordinary order. This was a declaration of war against Boeing, wrapped in a corporate press release. The deal includes 10 Airbus A350 wide-body jets and 90 A320 Neo family aircraft, bringing Air India's total Airbus order book to a staggering 344 units. Here's where it gets absolutely insane. Air India had been Boeing's golden child since 1961, when they took delivery of their very first Boeing 707. For decades, they were the poster child for Boeing loyalty, flying everything from the iconic 747 jumbo jets to the modern 787 Dreamliners. In 2006, they even placed one of the largest single Boeing orders in history, purchasing 68 aircraft worth billions. They were so committed to Boeing that they even ordered the troubled 777X, despite knowing it was plagued with delays. But wait, there's something most people don't realize about this deal. When Tata Group acquired Air India in 2021, industry experts universally predicted they'd continue the Boeing romance. Every aviation analyst, every industry insider, every expert was wrong. Dead wrong? The new owners had other plans, and those plans involved completely humiliating Boeing on the global stage. Boeing's reputation crisis runs deeper than you think. The American manufacturer has been cutting corners like a desperate barber, and it's finally catching up to them. Their quality control issues aren't just embarrassing, they're deadly. The 737 MAX disaster killed 346 innocent people because Boeing installed faulty software that pilots weren't even told about. Think about that for a moment. Boeing literally hid critical flight systems from the people flying their planes. Remember that Alaska Airlines door plug that blew out mid-flight in January 2024? That wasn't just a freak accident. That was Boeing's manufacturing process completely falling apart. The Federal Aviation Administration immediately launched an audit and found what they described as significant non-compliance issues in Boeing's manufacturing, parts handling, and quality control. Translation: Boeing was building planes like they were assembling IKEA furniture, except people's lives depended on getting it right. Industry insiders are revealing shocking details about Boeing's toxic culture. Current and former employees are going public with horror stories about how the company prioritizes profits over safety. Anyone who dares raise quality concerns gets retaliated against, silenced, or pushed out. Boeing transformed from an engineering company that happened to make money into a money-making machine that happens to build planes. That's a terrifying distinction when you're flying at 35,000 feet. I bet you don't know this. The 777X delay saga is where Boeing really showed their incompetence. Originally scheduled for 2020 delivery, this aircraft has become Boeing's most embarrassing failure. Air India ordered these planes expecting delivery years ago, but Boeing keeps pushing the date back. Now they're saying 2026 maybe? 5 years late and counting, with no certification in sight. Imagine ordering a car and being told it'll arrive 5 years after the promised date because the manufacturer can't figure out how to build it properly. Air India got tired of Boeing's excuses and decided to expose them publicly. CEO Campbell Wilson delivered the aviation equivalent of a breakup text, stating they won't engage with Boeing until the company proves they can deliver quality products consistently. That's corporate speak for "you're dead to us until you get your act together." It's brutal, it's public, and it's exactly what Boeing deserved. But engineering superiority tells the real story here. The Airbus A320neo destroys the Boeing 737 MAX in almost every metric that matters. Fuel efficiency? Airbus wins with 20% better consumption versus Boeing's 15%. Range? The A320neo flies 3,400 nautical miles compared to the 737 MAX's 3,215 miles. Cabin width? Airbus again, offering passengers more comfortable seats. These aren't marginal differences. They're competitive advantages that translate directly to airline profitability. Wide-body aircraft comparison makes Boeing look even worse. The Airbus A350 that Air India ordered carries significantly more passengers than Boeing's 787 Dreamliner. We're talking 300 to 410 passengers versus 248 to 336. More seats mean more revenue per flight, which means more profit. The A350 also has superior range, covering up to 9,300 miles compared to the 787's maximum of 8,400 miles. Air India could potentially launch ultra-long-haul routes like Delhi to Santiago, becoming the first South Asian carrier to connect Asia and South America non-stop. Boeing's financial situation is becoming desperate, and losing Air India might be the final nail in the coffin. The company is hemorrhaging money, facing lawsuits, dealing with production shutdowns, and now losing one of their most prestigious long-term customers. Under new CEO Kelly Ortberg, Boeing has a chance to rebuild their reputation, but they're running out of time fast. Every month they delay recovery gives Airbus more opportunities to steal customers and dominate the market. Air India has completely committed to the Airbus ecosystem. They've selected Airbus's flight hour services for their A350 fleet, meaning Airbus will handle component services and maintain on-site stock at Air India's Delhi hub. This isn't just buying planes. This is building a long-term partnership that makes switching back to Boeing nearly impossible. Industry analysts are calling this the strongest signal yet that Boeing has permanently lost Air India. The ripple effects of this decision will reshape global aviation. Other airlines are watching Air India's bold move and questioning their own Boeing relationships. If a historically loyal customer like Air India can walk away, what does that say about Boeing's future? Meanwhile, Airbus is gaining momentum, market share, and credibility with every Boeing scandal that makes headlines. Here's what Boeing doesn't want you to know. This could be just the beginning. Air India's decision might trigger an industry-wide exodus from Boeing to Airbus. Airlines are businesses first, and if Airbus consistently delivers better aircraft with fewer problems, the choice becomes obvious. Boeing bet their reputation on cutting costs and maximizing profits, while Airbus focused on engineering excellence and customer satisfaction. By the way, if you're finding these aviation industry secrets as shocking as I am, hitting that subscribe button right now would be incredible, because the stories I'm uncovering about airline decisions and manufacturer scandals are getting more explosive by the day, and you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next. Boeing's response to this crisis will determine their survival. They can either double down on their cost-cutting culture and continue losing customers, or completely overhaul their operations and rebuild trust from scratch. The aviation industry is unforgiving. One major safety incident or quality failure can destroy decades of reputation building. Boeing is learning this lesson the hard way, and it might already be too late. The most shocking part is that Air India's Airbus deal represents more than just aircraft purchases. It's a public rejection of Boeing's current approach to aircraft manufacturing, safety, and customer relationships. When a customer who stayed loyal through decades of ups and downs finally walks away, it sends a message that reverberates throughout the entire industry. Boeing created this crisis through their own choices, and now they're facing the consequences. What happens next will determine the future of commercial aviation. Will Boeing successfully rebuild their reputation and win back lost customers like Air India? Or will Airbus continue their relentless march toward industry dominance? The answer lies in Boeing's ability to fundamentally change their corporate culture and prioritize what actually matters: building safe, reliable, efficient aircraft that airlines can depend on. Boeing's manufacturing disasters go beyond public scandals. Internal documents leaked by whistleblowers reveal production facilities where workers are pressured to ignore safety protocols to meet delivery deadlines. Quality inspectors report being overruled by managers who prioritize schedule over structural integrity. One former Boeing engineer described the current culture as building planes like they're disposable consumer products. These aren't isolated incidents. They're systemic failures that explain why airlines are fleeing to competitors. But wait, Because the financial mathematics of Air India's switch are beyond your imagination. Each Airbus A320neo saves approximately $400,000 annually in fuel costs compared to equivalent Boeing aircraft. Multiply that across 344 aircraft over 20 years, and Air India is looking at savings exceeding $3 billion. Boeing's higher maintenance requirements, parts costs, and fuel consumption create a financial burden that airlines can no longer justify. Air India didn't just choose better aircraft, they chose financial survival. European aviation authorities are quietly distancing themselves from Boeing certification. While this rarely makes headlines, regulatory bodies across Europe have implemented additional oversight requirements specifically for Boeing aircraft that don't apply to Airbus models. This creates operational headaches for airlines flying Boeing planes into European markets, adding hidden costs and scheduling complications that Airbus aircraft simply don't face. Here's where it gets interesting. Boeing's supply chain crisis reveals deeper structural problems. The company relies on a complex network of suppliers who've also been cutting corners to meet Boeing's cost reduction demands. When your door plugs blow out mid-flight, when your engines catch fire, when your landing gear fails, the problem isn't just Boeing, it's every component supplier who's been pressured to deliver cheaper parts faster. Airbus maintains tighter control over their supply chain, resulting in more consistent quality. This story is far from over. Boeing's fight for survival is just beginning, and Air India's shocking decision to abandon their decades-long partnership might be remembered as the moment everything changed in commercial aviation. The industry has been forever altered, and the consequences are only just starting to unfold. Subscribe for more shocking aviation industry revelations that airlines don't want you to know.